off-leash dogs, man. Untrained off-leash dogs.
Oof.
What? Okay, so you messaged me about it, and you felt like I felt like you were kind of fired up when you sent that message. You were like, "Hey, I'm trying to fucking talk about this." So what kind of sparked this? What's going through your brain with it?
I mean, it's the thing is like my niche is reactivity.
Mm-hmm.
And reactivity, as you guys know, comes from a number of different reasons,
Mm-hmm.
but there is no worse trigger than an off-leash, untrained dog when we are trying to work with these dogs and overcome fear, frustration, or aggression in the sense of being out in society and being able to like just be out in the world. And one of the things that I have just like, I don't know if it's like in the sense where I'm not necessarily looking for it, but I think it's the fact that it's became more of an issue. It's becoming more apparent to me. And it's just like, I don't know, the fact that people don't understand or are naive to have the impression that just because their dog is friendly, that they don't need to train it or it can be off leash is mind-blowing. And it lights this fire inside of me because they don't understand how dangerous that can be. And the most important part, and something that I communicate to all of my clients, especially the ones that have overly friendly dogs, is if your dog is off leash and runs up to a dog that is on leash, that is aggressive, and a fight breaks out, it is 100% your fault because your dog is the one that is not controlled. You either need to have a killer recall or your dog stays on leash. End of story. Boom. And the thing is like, and something that we talked about last time I was on the podcast was people with reactive dogs or even like aggressive dogs are having this responsibility where they're learning to train and work with them and keep them safe. And they're coming out. They're not hiding their dogs in the house anymore. And they shouldn't. But the other thing is like people need to be considerate of that other dog.
Yeah.
And so it's something where I have personally had situations where one of my dogs is, I don't necessarily define her as dog aggressive, but I have put in so much work into her training. Both my husband and I have put in so much work to her training. But with her, we manage her space. She can be around dogs. She can walk alongside of dogs. She comes to my puppy programs for like a demo dog or a distraction dog. She has no problem. But if a dog comes up to her face, she will start a fight. And that's something that we understand, we know, and we manage her space. But it's also a situation where if we go for a walk with our dogs, we have to have a protocol of what to do if one of us yells out dog and what your next move is to make sure she's safe. And also the other dog is safe. And so we do this. And there have been so many situations. Like I had one situation that I'll never forget. And it is such a good example of this situation is we were walking our 3 dogs. We turned the road to come home and I was walking the Shepherds. Nick was walking on our Golden, and this Cavalier was in the front yard off leash, untrained. Owners weren't paying attention to it at all and just beelined it full speed towards us. I hand Sterling to Nick. I scoop up Aspen because I can't get her away fast enough. She's 11. She's not going to run with me. And so I just pick her up and I hold her there until the owner can come get their dog. And their dog is like jumping up my leg, trying to get to my dog and everything. And I'm trying to keep her head up so she doesn't have this dog in her face. And she comes up and she picks up her dog and she looks at me dead in the eye and she's like, "How dare you assume my dog is aggressive?" And I look at her, I'm like, "How dare you assume mine isn't? Put your dog on a damn leash." And I just walk away. And I was livid. Like the fact that she only took it personal and the fact that I assumed her dog was aggressive And the fact that she had no consideration to even fathom that mine could be.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so it's just like, I don't know. This is a topic that really does get me going because it's a topic that it's so dangerous.
Yeah.
It is so dangerous.
It's insane. And like you know how there's like some things you just like literally don't have words for. It's one of those things where like I have a hard time like putting my thoughts together to even explain how much it infuriates me sometimes, because it seems like it's such common sense, right? It seems like it's literally the most obvious thing on the face of the planet that like you can't just let your dog do whatever they want. But it's so disrespectful because it's like you go to these parks and you see these dogs that literally are just running the park. Like literally doing whatever they want to do, going up to anybody they want to go up to, you know, jumping on whoever they want to jump on. And it's like the audacity you have to just assume that like, I just own this place. You know what I mean? Like this place I go to is now mine and we could do whatever we want to do here. It's just, I can't wrap my head around it. And then the people that do it, like how angry they get when you like even imply that they shouldn't be allowed to do it blows my mind also. I had a guy one time at the park, he had this bull mastiff, it was like a young bull mastiff, but the thing was freaking huge, right? It was probably almost 200 pounds, right? And I watched this dog, same thing, like at any given time, probably 100 feet, 150 feet away from this guy, like super, super far away, right? Or yards, 150 yards. And I watched it run up to like 3 different groups of people and just jump all over them. And this is like an almost 200-pound dog, right? Like literally jump all over them. There was a family that was having a picnic. The dog went and barreled over their entire picnic, right? And and this is a big ass park rat, right? And I'm with this like young Bernedoodle puppy, like this thing's like 5 months old. It's pretty little, right? And we're just like as far away as we can get. We're all the way on the other side of the field. Got the dog in a downstay next to me. And I'm just like, I know this dog's going to run at us. I know it's going to happen. We're like trying to keep our distance as much as possible. Whatever. Dog sees us, beelines for us, right? I'm like, well, here we go, right? Take 3 steps forward, soccer kick this thing in the face as hard as I could. Didn't do anything, by the way, because it's a freaking 200-pound bull mastiff. He kind of stopped for a second. He was like, whoa, right? And then I just like kind of like holding the dog away, like keeping the dog back. The guy comes over, grabs the dog, and then got like an inch away from my face and told me he was going to find me and kill me. And I was just like, really, sir? Yeah. Really, sir? Oh my God. And then the other thing that kills me, right, is like there was all these like witnesses that saw it happen and everything, right? And so we called, like it was at the Metro Parks, we called the Metro Parks police. They come over, right? We explained the whole situation to them. And they wound up writing us both warnings. Right? They wrote him a warning and they wrote me a warning. They're like, well, he said you kicked the dog. I was like, yeah, the dog was literally going to like run and like do who knows what to this dog right here. And like everybody else is there. They're like, what the hell? Like he's getting a warning, whatever. But same deal. Like so many situations like that. I had another, we're walking around the block at the facility we're at. There's a house there. There's this family outside with like 3 like fairly big like pitty mixes. And we didn't see them. We go by the house. These dogs barrel at us. I had like 2 German Shepherds. One of my trainers with me had a dog also. These dogs had us surrounded, like growling, snapping, like doing all sorts of crazy stuff like that. We're trying to keep them away at all costs. Same deal. The guy finally gets them back in and then comes out and same deal, starts like threatening us again and stuff. And it's just like, again, I just can't. I can't compute it. Like it just like it doesn't connect people can like think that that's okay. Mm-hmm. Like it's a different story if like I've run into some situations. You're walking down the street, a dog gets out of the house, the person's screaming the whole time like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." They're trying to get the dog, like it wasn't intentional, and it's like, listen, like have some better control over your dog, obviously, but like shit happens, it's okay, everything's fine, right? They're like apologetic and understanding, but just the ones that just don't care, they just don't care at all, and it's like. You know, we have these dogs that even if they're not aggressive, like your dog is probably not an aggressive monster, obviously, but like likes their space on the walk, right? And it's like you hit a point where we have clients that live certain places, you know, especially a lot of the apartment complexes and stuff in the downtown Cleveland area that have these like green spaces that have become like the non-spoken like dog parks, right? That they can't even take their dog outside for a walk. Right? They can't even take their dog outside for a walk because they're going to get bombarded by a dog. And then their brain just goes to like, well, everybody else is able to do this. So now maybe my dog is the bad dog. And it's like, they're not. We have to constantly remind them like, that's not normal. Like, that's not okay that you should have to deal with that. Like, I just don't get it.
Yeah.
It is infuriating.
No,